a little bit of background. I went through the NATE Water and Wastewater program in 2005 as a career change. So within a relatively short period of time, I've achieved a level 3 water treatment certification, level 2 in both collection and distribution, and level 1 in wastewater treatment. I look at myself as probably a typical operator in rural northern Alberta. Much of our activities involve operating multiple facilities. The Water Commission, in conjunction with operating a level 3 regional plant, as well as approximately 45 kilometers of transmission main with an additional 80 kilometers shortly come online, also operate various hamlets water systems for Athabasca County. So you're probably already capturing that our job is fairly involved, dynamic, and diverse. Looking at myself as kind of an average operator in northern Alberta, I'll give you a little bit more of my personal background. Like many operators making a career change, we come with a transferable skill set. Many of my coworkers, I also worked with a municipality to the west at MD of 124 prior to coming to Athabasca. So I had an opportunity to work with a number of other operators, and most of us had come from other industry, which I think is an asset and almost a requirement working in the rural environment. So yeah, my background was forestry, so I made that transition. I looked at the change from forestry to water as a good link. Moving forward, some of the challenges that we focus, I was happy to hear the discussion around the financial issues. As many of you are aware, housing comes with a significant cost. Last evening, in preparation of coming down here, we kind of going over our own budget of my wife and ours, and we arrived at approximately $4,600 a month living in northern Alberta again, which only captures shelter, so housing, transportation, and groceries. So when we talk about the salary ranges that Kathy had identified, it's plain and simple, it's not viable to run a household on one income. That's further complicated in rural Alberta, being that if the expectation is that a spouse is working, job markets are somewhat more limited. Again, working in a rural environment, it was touched on, operators are constantly on call. If you run a household with children like mine, it's difficult to be able to walk away at any time of the day or evening to respond to an on-call situation. I know this time is short, so a couple key items that I think moving forward will provide some solutions is one that's already been addressed, is certification. I think it's absolutely essential that certification remains, and I think Brian touched on one topic there, that perhaps certification even be, or the level of requirements related to certification be increased. I think that would be a positive move. Also, I think the enforcement of the requirement for certified operators is important too. I've been in more than one situation where municipalities aren't able to retain a certified operator to the level of their facility, and you know, there are provisions with Alberta Environment to reduce that, is with interim operator status. I don't believe that's necessary. I believe the human resources are out there. They just need to have the appropriate incentives to come our way.
Town of Penhold is a small municipality of 2,300 people that is located just south of Red Deer in central Alberta. My background, I'm also a graduate of the NATE Water and Wastewater Technician Program. I graduated in 1997, and at that time the jobs available were mostly in the smaller centers. So that is how I ended up in the town of Penhold. I have certification level 1 water treatment, level 3 water distribution, and level 3 wastewater collection. The town of Penhold operates a distribution and collection system. We are also part of a regional wastewater system that the town actually operates. At this time, we're working to be part of a much larger regional system that will incorporate communities to the south of us. Some of the points I'm going to make have already been made, and I'm sure they will be made again, and I think that'll just go to reiterate the importance of some of these key points. There's a large need to educate the public, municipal administration, and the elected officials to the importance of the water and wastewater operator. Our profession has a high level of responsibility and accountability that most are unaware of. We are the unseen essential service. In my opinion, one of the largest struggles we as operators face is the lack of recognition of the importance of the water and wastewater operator. Without this recognition of the water and wastewater operators, we face struggles such as lack of necessary funds for our system, education of the operators, and inconsistency of the salaries across the province. And that has been touched upon, and it is difficult for a small community to recruit especially a higher level operator. So what we end up doing is trying to recruit from within our municipalities, and part of the Closer to Home project that the association will be working on will, I think, go a long way to help that. A unique struggle that a community such as Penhold faces is that Central Alberta is fairly densely populated. So the small communities are not spread out. They're very close together. So there is a lot of competition for the workforce there. Even in a small community such as Penhold, the water and wastewater operator is responsible for the health and welfare of more than 2,000 residents, and I think this is often overlooked. Another point I just want to touch on is the difficulties in recruiting new operators. As Kathy's touched upon, we know that a large percentage of our workforce will be retiring in the next 10 years, and it's crucial that we attract capable operators into the water and wastewater field. We need to ensure that the water and wastewater career is recognized as an option for high school students and workers making a mid-career change. There is a definite lack of awareness of water and wastewater as a career. And also, I think the importance of recruitment is going to be ongoing due to the change in the upcoming workplace. Right now, a lot of our operators have been in their roles for 20 to 30 years. That's going to change. There's a whole new mindset coming into the workplace. So I think we're only going to see operators sticking in one place maybe 5 to 7 years. Then they're going to be moving up or onward, and this recruitment is going to be an ongoing piece that we're going to need to deal with. And just in closing, I'd like to say we need to ensure the sustainability of safe drinking water and the quality of wastewater effluent into the receiving streams for the residents of Alberta.
And I'm giving you the perspective of the large urban municipality, just so you see the issues of the workforce itself. So with the city of Calgary, we have 1.1 million people, and our water and wastewater treatment plants produce 1 billion liters a day. We have a new website called Rethink Water on our website, a new little program that looks at trying to advertise the importance of water, because we too see that water isn't seen as being important enough. There's been a lot of population growth. So in the past decade, 220,000 people moved in. And so we are really struggling with trying to keep up with things. Calgary invested $1.8 billion in water and wastewater facilities and infrastructure. And if you're looking at how many underground pipes we have 12,000 kilometers, so we could go to the Antarctic. This takes a lot of people, and if we look at our utility, we have 1,038 core employees that are working for us. We operate level 4 plants, and we operate the water, wastewater distribution and collection. So we have 2 water treatment plants and 3 wastewater treatment plants as part of that. If I go into our database to see certifications, we have 300 current operator certifications. Some people within our organization require 2 certifications. Because the way our organization has been set up, we have something called field services that combines both distribution and collection. And so that adds another bit of complexity for us in trying to manage that. We also have construction, And part of our construction people, the foremen and supervisors, also require certification to do their work. So if I look at the water treatment, we have 43 operators. And in the wastewater treatment plant, we have 63 operators. So workforce renewal is actually a very serious concern for everyone because of the demographics that we're facing. And that's the baby boomers are now leaving the workforce. And it's beginning to affect all organizations. What we're looking at in the next 10 to 15 years is it's going to be very difficult. And so we're all in the same boat. We're all struggling to swim. Alberta's occupational demand and supply outlook in 2009 to 19 looked at the labor market growth for Alberta, which was 1.5%. It looked at the occupational supply growth, and that was 1.1%. That little difference of 0.4% equates to 77,000 people. The City of Calgary has been looking at themselves, and over the next 10 years, we're looking at retirements. It'll be a leveled playing field of 2 to 2.5%. There's going to be lots of resignations, and that's part of the new generations that we're facing. Resignations are expected to be between 6 to 12. And so if we're looking at demographics and the changes in generational changes, we are looking at 8 to 14.5% workforce changes that we have to manage and end up with competent, trained people throughout this. If we look at the demographics of our utility itself, we have 22.5% that are greater than 55 that are about to retire. And in the age brackets of 50 to 54, we have another 22.4%. It's been a big concern, and in 2010, we actually undertook a project within the water utility to look at what our greatest risks would be. Which person is really going to be, or which areas would be really big for us to worry about. We ended up with 3 to 4 major areas at that time. And I just want to broaden the perspective. Operators are important, but there were a few other areas that we need to look at. We're losing a lot of engineers and technologists. And that's probably mostly due to resignation for better jobs. We're losing a lot of foremen and supervisors due to retirement. And at some levels, that could be really devastating where we're at. And for plant operators in the water and wastewater, there's also a real problem because of the training time, the certification time, and the DRC that's required in order to meet our compliance needs. Attraction and retention of young people is really, really hard. As was pointed out by various people already, people don't see this as a career, and they're not really aware of the water industry as being something worthwhile to go into. There are the 3 R's of workforce sustainability that everybody's working on, which is recruitment, retaining, and remembering. And so one of the big things that we have to think about too is trying to capture the knowledge of the people that are leaving. And so there's a lot of effort going into that as well because they're gone. We have a number of tools that we're working on, and that's a competency management system, increasing our training and effectiveness, and a knowledge management system. There are tons of challenges that we faced. The industrial challenges that we're looking at is the operator's role is really changing. It's not a labor anymore. We don't have lagoons. It's a highly technical operation that needs to be run. And there's very specialized skill sets that we need in order to have that happen. The challenge in recruiting new employees in this industry. People aren't aware of it, and so that's one of the reasons the CAP program happened and the associations have gotten together is to try and get the word out of the careers that are available in water. Retaining operators, particularly level 3 and 4 operators, it's hard. We just can't run an ad and get a level 4 operator showing up. Risks of losing approval because of you trying to manage the certification. The training costs is a concern because it's hard to get the return on investment and it's very expensive to try and get people up to the level that we require. There's a lot of changes as well in adult learning styles, and to try and meet the changes of technology and how we train is also becoming an issue. Increasing the challenges within the technologies within the industry as well, because there's a lot of changes in technology and it's getting very difficult to keep up and to keep people up in tune and ready to go with it all. And then there's the change that we might be regionalizing in order to try and to meet some of the needs as well, which offers another big challenge for us. The program itself definitely it's hard to try and keep the DRCs and the years and stuff that are required just because of the turnover more than anything else. There's a number of barriers I think that we face as a large municipality, and that's our ability to fill vacant positions, because HR does not see operators as being anything special. And yet we want them to go out and we want them to go to careers, we want them to advertise, and we're not getting the funding or resources to do that. Also, we have some union problems, which makes it a little difficult to be flexible. And what I think we need now more than anything else is a bit more flexibility in how we move forward. There's a lot of opportunity. I think municipalities are a good place to work, and I think we need to talk about that. You know, the career itself is looking at protecting the environment, and it's a service. You're servicing your community. We need to talk about possibly work-life balance, because you are at home and you live close to where you work. So there's some family values that might be to consider, especially because we are competing against oil and gas. They're out there and they're headhunting. We need to look at career paths and training that we can provide. We have stability. Everybody needs water. That's something to consider as you're looking for a career. And there's a lot of variety, from technical to hands-on. It's a very nice career to be in. I was involved in the Career Attraction Program when I was president of Western Canada Water, and we're still continuing with that with the 3 prairie provinces to try and get the message out that this is a really wonderful career to be in and has lots of opportunity. I won't go into details on that. In closing, I think one of the biggest challenges we have is the lack of resources and working in isolation. And I think we need to change how we work and be much more collaborative and support each other, because the costs of all the things that we're looking at, nobody alone can bear. And that would be it for me.
I have 26 years of experience in the industry, started as an operator and progressed into management. 18 years of that time was working for a municipality, so I know that I'm familiar with the municipal world. The other 8 years I'm working with EPCOR. 4 of these were in a municipal setting and the other 4 in an industrial setting, namely the oil sands. I worked in northern and southern Alberta and heard the concerns from operators in both regions. And I hope today too that, because I've discussed a lot of these things with other operators, that I bring not just my perspective but some perspective of the operators as well out there. Where we work for Suncor and Shell. We basically look after 18 plants. About 50% of those are wastewater plants and 50% are water plants, and a number of distribution and collection systems. Some of the challenges that we see, one of course would be growth. 4 years ago, when I first walked into Fort McMurray, we had 6 operators. Now we have approximately 45 and counting, requiring us to hire another 10 operators before year end due to our industry growth. The combined projects slated in the oil sands are in the order of $130 billion. I didn't say million, I said $1 billion. And that's to be spent in the next 5 years. A lot of these projects require water and wastewater plants to serve the camps and operations in the oil sands. In the next couple of years, we alone can see that our operators' headcount will exceed 100 in the operator mark. Are there any, and there are other companies in our region operating plants faced with these similar needs. Our company has been hiring operators across Canada from coast to coast, and I mean like from PEI all the way to the island on BC, Vancouver Island, and are now looking into the US market, spending a lot of time and resources and needing to be very creative, more creative than the Wood Buffalo municipality. We're trying to be competitive against them all the time, which is unfortunate, but it is what we're faced with. So we're looking at their compensation package, comparing ours every 6 months, and it just keeps going up. We're well past $100,000. Like an operator is well past $100,000 operator, where we are. So we need to be creative to provide an attractive compensation package that will not only attract potential operators, but competent operators ready to handle the challenge and change that the industry presents. With that, we have a number of barriers I'd like to discuss. One of those barriers, and it's been on my mind, and it was discussed, and it was a question this morning about the amount of times an operator can write their certification exam per year. Only 3 time periods per year. Out of those 3, only one of those is offered on a regional basis, where operators are not required to travel as far to write. The other 2, one offered in March in Banff and in November in either Edmonton or Calgary. I would like to see that this is offered at any time during the year. It would keep the operator in his or her respective hometown. The municipality would not need to spend the extra funds for travel, expenses, and operator coverage. And the municipalities that only have limited certified operators would not be in a potential violation of their approval for operator coverage during that time period, because the approval basically states you have to have a certified operator every day at the site, and if the plant is greater than a level 2, you need a certified operator at least so many days per week there. If we can have that reviewed, that would be great. My number 2 is the issue of reciprocity has been a problem, especially in the area that we are. Currently, when someone transfers from another province, they request to have their certification transferred to Alberta. The problem we are seeing in our area is that the progress has not been consistent, nor meets the needs of the company or municipality hiring this individual. For example, and this is based on a real-life scenario, I hire an operator certified from BC with a level 4 wastewater treatment and a level 2 wastewater collection. Our approval to operate requires level 2 certified operators for wastewater treatment and the collection system. However, when this individual requests reciprocity, he will receive a level 3 wastewater treatment, even though he's worked it in Lake BC, and he will receive no wastewater collection, because we are seen in the oil sand as a public facility, such that our oil sands clients, and it's not seen the same as a municipality. However, we are supplying potable water to populations exceeding 300 people. 3,000, sorry. And some places up to 5,000 people. Now I'm in a dilemma. Firstly, I need the level 4 wastewater treatment plant operator in case we obtain a level 4 wastewater treatment plant through our growth in business development. Our proposals to a client requires identification of certified operators that would meet the requirements of the client's approval to operate. How can we confidently provide this information? Secondly, and this has me very concerned, I am required to follow the approval based on a current approval I have right now, which states that the wastewater treatment and collection system needs to be supervised by a certified operator. Since the new person hired lost his or her certification in wastewater collection, I would be in non-compliance of the approval. This also applies to the certification renewal process, where individuals that we hired within Alberta will lose their water distribution and wastewater collection certification because the client is a public facility. Now, the regulator could remove the sections pertaining to the requirement of certified operators for the collection and distribution system. However, would we then be straying from the Water for Life strategy, providing safe drinking water to the end user? We are talking about a collection and distribution network that has populations greater than many municipalities. This certification process needs to be reviewed promptly and amended to include these concerns. A third challenge is the development of qualified operators for the future. So what will and should an operator look like in 2020? Where are we going to get them, and how do we retain them and keep their certifications? Much has been said and made of the pending retirement of the baby boomers. However, a larger effect is likely to be growth requirements of municipalities and industries, especially in Fort McMurray and critically in the level 3 and 4 positions. So how do we get them? Well, our approach has been twofold. We either hire uncertified people with other educational, technical work or life skills and develop them, or we continue to hire certified operators across Canada and into the US market. Retention programs are moving towards skill-based pay and paying for increased numbers of certification to encourage people to advance and continue their education and development. However, under the current program, operators can lose their certification. This hampers our effort at growing our operators. And in closing, I have some food for thought. A number of years ago, the provincial government hired consultants to review upgrade requirements to the water treatment plants across the province. This study was to identify costs and needs for each municipality. My question today is, with this study, was there a focus done not only on a needs per municipality, but more of a regional look at these needs, like regionalization, which would build larger treatment plants in key locations with transmission lines? When I look at this, and I understand it would take a lot of working together between the provinces and the municipalities, the grant approval process could, if not doing so already, look at the potential for regionalization based on an application, based on the applications coming from the municipalities. You have a number of municipalities putting application in, let's say a number of them need water plant upgrades. Let's look at regionalization and spend the money as one large plant. I can see both grants and municipal funds going a lot further, building true water treatment plants instead of patching up old ones or a number of new little ones all over the place. I also see that the need for certified operators would be reduced, but like many smaller municipalities, and this has been said before, the operator is the dog catcher and the grader operator, and when it snows, guess what would be the priority? It's not the water treatment plant. With a shared water treatment plant approach, the municipalities can then together share the cost of full-time qualified operators that are focused on water treatment. This can be done likewise for wastewater treatment plants as well. My recommendations would be also to look a little deeper into the roots of that matter. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to respectfully submit these concerns.